Does NIS-2 actually apply to me? The first step in NIS-2 compliance is knowing whether your company is actually in scope or not. There's two mistakes that people can make. Either deciding that they are in scope and haven't actually looked into it, hire an expensive GRC platform, get an auditor, and ultimately they were never in scope from the first place. Or the second camp, that they forget it, saying, oh, we have not enough people, we're not in scope, all good. And ultimately they could be in scope and then could get charged. In today's video, I'm going to go through what actually it means to be in scope, who it's for, and how to apply this free and easy within 10 minutes on your own. The whole test lives in Article 2 of NIS-2 Directive. 3 parts: size, sector, and whether they're in the exception list or not. So here I'll list the important sectors covering Annex I. So the essential critical structure is under Annex I, and here I'll list them: energy, transport, banking, financial market infrastructure, health, water, drinking water, wastewater, digital infrastructure, ICT services management, public administration, and space. For the Annex II, which is important entities, not postal and courier, waste management, chemicals, food, manufacturing, not everything, but a few things: medical devices, electronics, electrical equipment, machinery, vehicles, digital providers, online marketplace, search engines, social networks, and research. 18 sectors across 2 annexes. And if you're in one of these sectors and you fulfill the other requirements, then you are likely in scope. So let's go through the next requirements. Do you have 50 or more employees in your company? Or are you have a revenue of 10 million euros or more? If yes, if one of these and in the sectors, then you are in direct scope of NIS-2. And here's this exception that gets a lot of people. If the subsidiary company is less than the 50 employees, but a holding company or parent company has more than 51 stake holdings in this subsidiary, then their total employee count counts towards whether the subsidiary company is in scope or not. So if the holding company has, again, 51 or more % holding in the subsidiary, and the subsidiary only has 30 employees, you have to take into account the whole company on this part. And the next part is the override or exceptions list. And this list is very specific and very special, meaning no matter how many employees you have and no matter how much revenue you earn, if you're in this list, you were already in scope automatically. And that is because they're super special, super critical sectors that are deemed exceptions to the size and money revenue thresholds. And the lists are public electronic communications networks and services, trust services providers, DNS service providers, and the sole provider in a country of an essential service, the entities whose disruption could create systematic risk or hit public safety, public administration entities. So they're a little bit nuanced. What does that really mean? Basically, if there's one company providing water to a country and only one company, there's no competition, no other solutions or providers, this company will be in scope no matter the size or the revenue of the company, because they're so essential to this specific example nation that they are in scope automatically. This leads to the next topic, which is supply chain security. What that means is a company in scope, water provider, enough employees, part of the requirements is they need to ensure that their suppliers have safety protocols as well. And typically the customer sends a procurement questionnaire, a supplier questionnaire to their supplier. And then the supplier company needs to fill out this to fulfill the customer's wishes and earn the contract. But this supplier, if they're not alone in their own definition in NIS-2 scope, then they aren't in scope no matter what. But they still need to fulfill the questionnaire, answer their customers' wishes to earn the contract, to ensure that they will keep this customer in contract. And part of it is still asset management, belongs to a separate section of the supplier area. And at NIS-2.eu, we also have a supplier portal where people can put in their questionnaires and answer the questions for their customers who are affected by NIS-2. So you've ran the applicability assessment and decided if you're in scope or not. Now what? What do you do? So if you're not in scope, then keep track of the news, stay on top of it, monitor your employee count and your revenue, and maybe do a little bit of homework so when you get over that threshold, you're ready. And if you are in scope, you have to start keeping track of your assets in an asset registry and allowing and assigning a risk to each asset on how bad it would be if they were down, and the odds of assets being damaged or vulnerabilities being placed. You have to have an incident report plan. When you have an incident, you have to inform BSI in Germany or your governing authority within 24 hours, and a little bit more report in 72 hours, and then a full assessment, root cause analysis in 1 month, and along with other requirements to fulfill the NIS-2 Directive, which I'll go into in further videos. But the first step is knowing whether you're in scope or not. And the next step is something called a gap analysis, because you would likely have some of these already done. You might have the multi-form authentication for your employees. You have yearly phishing cyber hygiene training. You have an incident response plan, but you don't have asset registry. So this gap analysis can tell you where you are from zero compliant to 100% compliant. That is the second step. And then you can have a roadmap of how you get there, and partly from internally through yourself, or hiring consultants, or using softwares like ours or other softwares. And what you have concluded today, whether you are in scope or not, write that down, date it, sign it, and that is part of your governance history. And you can prove that as evidence along the line to an auditor. And then it all is about keeping track, having governance, having history, having log reports of your evidence. And every time you do something, every time you research something, log it, write it down, take a picture of it, screenshot, and save it for an auditor when the time comes. And a lot of the solutions for this is documents. The auditors prefer documents. A lot of companies prefer documents. And that just means file folders with different documents of evidence, screenshots, proof of it, and dated. An ISMS information security management system. Sometimes compliant cybersecurity consultant says ISMS. They mean just documents organized and have a history of them for their evidence. And we have ISMS in our platform as a free and open ISMS where you can upload and download your documents, no lock-in, free of charge, and you can keep track of your evidence and your requirements for NIS-2 compliance. So I hope this helped today. If you have any questions, feel free to comment, email us. Have a good one. Bye for now.